ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next lesson in the Su-25T Cadet Series. This time we're gonna have some really fun. This time we're gonna learn how to employ the Vikhr anti-tank guided missiles. These missiles are deadly. They are super deadly. I have been able to kill tanks from 8.5 kilometers away, and my track IR is annoying. 8.5 kilometers away I've been able to kill tanks, and in the Su-25T I've been able to launch and hit and destroy 3 targets in the same dive. I love these missiles. Also on the Car 50. I simply just love these missiles. They are very good at main battle tanks and everything below that. They are also good against above ground bunkers. Most of the bunkers. Some of them may require 2 missiles, and some tanks, depending on the armor level, they may also require 2 missiles. The best way to employ these missiles, even though they are very effective and tough, is to the side and rear armor of main battle tanks. And if you can hear anything like a thunder or something in the background, it is because the Royal Danish Air Force is practicing a night flight in my area today. So it is 18:30, and since it is November in Denmark, it is pitch black. It is pitch black at 17:30 or so. So night flying starts early this time of year. So that is the thunder like you can hear. It is most likely one of them. There are 2 flying around. One of them is most likely the F-35, and the other one sounds like our trusty good F-16s. Back to the lesson. The best employment of any missile against tanks is, of course, to the side and rear armor. But these missiles can also destroy tanks in the frontal armor area, and against even against helicopters and slow flying, practically non-maneuvering aircraft, like an A-10 or anything. And against the same sites and missiles. So the scenario is that I'm heading towards my target area. You can see the most bombed island in DCS up ahead, 18 kilometers away. I'm gonna go to air to ground mode, turn on my squall, slow my target designator into the target area, zoom in, decrease the size of my target designator. I found the 4 tanks. Gonna lock that. As in the other lesson with the guided missiles, the number in the lower right of the squall monitor is flight time remaining. That means if I fire my missile now, it will take 39 seconds for the missile to reach the target. I cannot reach my target 18 kilometers away, so I will start launching the missile as soon as I can. If you see on the HUD, you have the range scale on the left. It starts as 25, 20, 15, 10, 5 and 0. The maximum designed range at this speed and altitude is roughly 7.5 kilometers, and the minimum is something like 700 meters or so. be very careful to use the missile below 1 kilometer. If you're gonna use the missile below 1 kilometer, make sure that the missile does not have to maneuver or change path towards the target. So fly directly at the target as if you are using the cannon. Because the missile flies very fast, but that is also a disadvantage because it means that it needs a lot of space to get in line with the laser. And one thing about this laser system is a power modulated laser system. It means that when the missile flies, the laser is modulated in power so that the end of the laser beam is just about the edge of the missile, at the nose of the missile. The laser does not hit the target and then the missile sees the target and flies towards its target. It does not work like that. The missile is a beam riding missile, which means that the laser gets more and more powerful as the missile gets closer to the target, or as the range to the target increases and decreases. What that does is that the target, let's say a tank, only gets a laser warning the second I measure the distance to the target. While the missile is flying towards the target will not get any laser warnings whatsoever because it is power modulated. That is genius Russian engineering, because as we know, military gear nowadays is nothing more than a bunch of microchips and tablets and a bunch of electronics wrapped into some overpriced gear package. So if the laser was pointing at the target at all times, just like laser guided missiles or rockets or bombs, then the target would get a constant warning that a laser is beamed at them. And since the laser is constant when a weapon is in the air, the target knows they need to do something, either fire laser shielding smoke or anything like that. It needs to deploy countermeasures. The missile, the Vikhr, does not give the target that warning, and when the target gets warning about me measuring the distance, that is only for a split second that laser energy hits the target. So if the target gets a single warning, just like that, they know that I'm looking at them and I just measured the distance. It does not mean that a missile is in the air toward them. That is what they think when I have my Vikhrs. Now I can just measure the distance to the target, and as we in the Royal Danish Army learned when we were trained on the Carl Gustaf recoilless rifle, we learned to measure the distance at least, I believe it was 50 meters away from the target. So if I would measure the distance to those tanks, I would not measure the distance at the tank. I would measure it, let's say, over here. As long as it is on the same, I don't know if that is latitude or longitude, because then I can measure the distance, hopefully without giving the tanks any warnings. So that is short, not history, but technical education on how the Vikhr missiles work. Because it is laser guided, it means that you need to have a constant view of the target at all times. You cannot fire the missile and then break away like you can with the Maverick. You need to have a constant view on that target. The good thing about Vikhrs is that the laser will automatically turn on when you press the trigger, and it will automatically turn off again when, I believe, it measures on the remaining time and does not see the impact itself. So that is very nice. So contrary to the laser guided missiles and bombs where you need to manually turn on the laser, you don't need to do that with the Vikhr. On my HUD you see huge two huge circles. Those circles are the eyes of the missile. Right now I can see that the aiming circle is to the left of the center. That tells me that if I press the trigger, one missile from my left side will be launched. The weapon system will automatically change sides, so when I have launched that missile, this circle will jump to the right side of the center line and launch a missile from my right side. It will always try to maintain a balanced loadout. It is very important that when you are within range of the target, that you put the inner circle within your aiming, because that means that the missile now sees or are within the laser. The missile's sensors and the laser is now more or less synchronized. Let's take a look at in practical terms. Right now I would never get a launch authorized, but I would here, because I'm within that circle. And as you know from the previous lessons, right now I have ground stabilized the squal sensors or aiming sweep. Therefore, all I need to do now is to maintain my aiming circle or aiming pipper within the sight or sensors of the Vikhr missile. And all I have to do is to wait for the missile or for the range indicator here to get to the maximum range. Do not fire the missile very close to the minimum range, because you will most likely just waste a missile. And with every other missile and rockets, the higher up you are and the faster you are, the longer away the missile flies or can fly. For you to be able to fire 3 missiles in one dive, you need to be rather slow. I will show you how to do that after this pass. So, throttle all the way down. I have 15 kilometers left for the target. Maintaining heading toward the target. If you will, you can just throttle up, but yeah, let's do that. And we're waiting for the squall to get a lock on the target, 9.5 kilometers away. It has locked. 9 kilometers. See, launch authorized. The LA in the middle there means a launch authorized. When I press the trigger, a missile will now fly away. As you see, there is a fire and a smoke to the right. The best way is not to fire through the smoke. The best way to fire it is to in clear line of sight. So right now I can press and hold, missile away, and I need to maintain eyes on the target, locked on the target, and you see, boom, splash, perfect on timer. And the laser did turn off and did turn on, so it does that by itself. So that is a very nice feature. It is part of the power modulated aiming system. And as you can see, one missile, one tank in the frontal armor. That is nice. Now I want to get some distance, because I want to show you how I fire 3 missiles in a row. As you saw when after the impact, the laser time down started. Up here below TV, it said LR and then a timer counted down. The timer counts down is the cooling timer for the missile. The missile, for the laser. The laser needs to cool down to avoid overheating. It is highly advisable to let the counter count down and let the laser cool down. But for this lesson, we are gonna press the laser to its utmost, to its limit. It may break the laser sometimes, and often it does not. Oh. Yeah. Now let's make a left turn towards the target. Making sure to be below the clouds. We do not want to fly into the clouds. Lasers does not like water, vapor, or rain. Now I'm gonna deploy air brakes, find the tanks, using the previous tank smokes as a reference. That tank is now almost locked. It is ground stabilized. Continuing to decrease in speed, and 8.5 kilometers left. Launch authorized. This away. Impact, changing targets, turn laser off and on, launch. Impact, turn laser off and on, launch. Three targets. If I could, I could most likely get 4 or 5 if I was really slow. So that is how we do that. And there's also one more way that only sometimes I succeed in. Let's see if I can do it this time. It is a way to... No, sorry, you can't do that in the 25T. You can do that in the Car 50. So that is how you use and employ the Vikhr missile from 8.5 kilometers away. 8 kilometers away. Let's see if there is a launch permissible override. That is a nice button. So go into settings, map launch permission override. Because what that does is it makes you able to fire the weapons even outside the launch authorized parameters. Just be aware of that you may lose some of your munitions. They may not reach the target because you of course are outside maximum permissible range. So let's gain some altitude, turn back on the target, 1600, 17, 18, 19. Deploy air brakes, use, see, as soon as I press the launch permission override, the LA appears. It is very important now to remember that that is not the system telling you you have launch authorized. It is a manual override. So what I can do now, I can use my squall at, let's say, at 10 kilometers, 19 seconds flight time. Three, two, one. Okay. Next target. Five and a half kilometers away. 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is off and on. This is off and on, or you can wait to turn it on until you are right at the target. Splash. Air brakes in, once authorized, engage. Along permission override. So 4 targets in one pass from 10 kilometers away. So now you know that you can kill tanks from 10 kilometers away in the Su-25T. That means you're outside the range of most short and medium range NATO air defenses, or let's say short range air defenses. That is very nice to know, and it also means that you can destroy an entire tank platoon in one single pass. That is nice. So that is how you use that, and the buttons and the symbology and everything you need to know to be effective with the Vikhr anti-tank guided missile. Thank you.